ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930 present The Drive.
Welcome into the Friday, January 6th edition. It's The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. I got Woody Woodrum with me here. We're here today. We have co-opted. Does he know? We have co-opted Steve Cotton's radio booth. Don't tell him?
Don't tell him.
Okay.
He allows Woodrums in here, though, so I'm good.
I've got to pass them because I'm being accompanied
You're with
by a
Woodrum.
Woodrum.
That's right.
Okay.
So you're good.
Man, it's nice in here.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, I come in here now and then, but it's a nice palatial palace.
And Steve would like really to turn this over to the upstairs visitors radio and then move into one of the small skyboxes and have a booth like that. I think that'd be a great idea, but
I hear he knows the athletic director.
Yes,
maybe
he does.
Drop that note
and possibly could do that. And speaking of fields,
what are we doing here today?
We're here because of baseball, and from here we can see a baseball field coming together. Guys are just starting to leave after a hard work day. But
yeah, I still see them over there.
There's still some of them, yeah.
No, they're still working. I still see them working. We're here today because a new baseball coach was announced today. It was yesterday. It was the announcement.
Right.
Today was the presentation of the new coach. So
29th
yes,
coach at Marshall Baseball.
Marshall hired yesterday, and we had the introductory press conference today. Gregory Beals. He comes from most recently Akron, before that Ohio State. And we're going to hear from him later. I think he's going to try to get up here to us. If not, we had a chance to catch up with him, do a little media scrum. So We'll hear that. We'll also hear from Christian Spears, Marshall's athletic director. I don't know who's going to be able to come up here because right now, as the new coach, the first priority is to meet everybody.
Everybody. I mean, everybody's walking up and saying hi. You know, somebody I was glad I got to talk to today, besides I talked to Christian a little bit before he got up on the dais and we ran over the myriad of fields the Herd has played on or at over the years. And but I also got to see Joe Carbone. And Joe goes back to Jack Cook, 1970, 1971. He was a GA here. His number one job after Marshall football games was to pick up all the ticket stubs that had free fries at McDonald's on the back of them. And Jack would give their players like their $5 and a free fry coupon so they could eat on the road. And Joe said every home game without fail, I was out there picking up those fry cards. So, you know, he's a longtime coach at Ohio University. They'd probably name the field after him if they didn't name it for the guy who immediately preceded him.
Right. There's been some good baseball in Ohio.
But Joe came and was part of the committee with the president, with Christian Spears, with Andrew Brown. And, you know, they did a great job of going through coaches. And I'm telling you, Paul, they could have done much worse on a hire. I mean, here's a guy that's been at Ohio State for 12 years. He's been at the big time. You know, he knows a lot of baseball people in this area because he recruits all over at Ohio State. He mentioned the Atkins guys from down in Wayne County and Tim and his brother are, you know, great contact people for baseball. And, you know, the baseball team was there today, and I thought it was nice. Christian Spears thanked the baseball team, the guys that were in town, probably a dozen or so.
Yeah.
They were all in pinstripes, except they were the cross pinstripes.
Right, and the thing about the baseball team being here is a lot of these guys could have left.
Yes.
And there have been so many misfires and false starts and promises about a baseball stadium being built. Well, right now we're here in the football press box looking over, seeing the ground being prepped and ready for the construction here. We're seeing the progress. And when you go out and try to hire a new coach, I'm sure the first thing was, okay, you know, where are we at on that?
Yeah, you know, and Craig, you know, Jeff Wagner was here 16 years, never will get to play on that field, which that's the only thing bothers me. But I know, you know, there was a time for change. And obviously the 29th coach comes along. That means other people have been, you know, have either left or been fired. In my experience, Jack Cook resigned. Howard McCann was let go. Craig Antush was let go. Dave Piepenbrink resigned.
How do you win with this program? Up until this point, how do you win with this program?
Well,
you can't.
Jack Cook would win back in the old days, and he would play at the Field House or St. Cloud's when the backwater wasn't in there.
Yeah, but the competition, even though the talent was here, the competitive gap maybe wasn't as great because now it comes down to facilities and everything
absolutely.
else. Marshall just fell so far behind.
Well, Greg Beals said, I've been recruiting against a new stadium at Marshall for 12 and a half years. And you had to laugh at that because that's how long the talk has been serious. And we've had, groundbreaking over there in the indoor building and all that.
I was there.
Yeah.
You were there at the indoor. We were there at the other site that they were going to choose, just a couple of blocks from here. And Coach Cook was there.
Yeah,
we were excited.
Greg Rousey was there, and Greg's gone along with Coach Cook now. And I did like they had 2 tablets up front. And one said, "We are Marshall, the Herd Way, our fountain." But the second one said, "Promises kept, number 1, Jack Cook Way, baseball 23." So it's going to start this year with this team, and he has a month to try to pull this team together.
I think he can do it.
I thought the best thing that he did, though, really, was he could see what the assistants had done to keep the team together because, like you said, the transfer portal, you can leak out in baseball. You get a free transfer the first time, so you could just go. But they didn't, and I think the assistants probably stepped up, kept them there, said, "We'll have a good coach. You just give them time." I mean, it was late in the going, though. I got to admit, I was concerned. New Year's were going, where's the coach? And nobody wanted to leak anything, which is good. But I was just like, gosh, it seems like this has gone on for a while.
Yeah.
But they got the right guy. I think that's what they did. And, he's impressed with everybody he's talked to here so far about, Brad Smith and the great job he's doing, and the president, Christian Spears, the great job he's doing with his athletic program, and all the other people that are involved here at Marshall. And he's going to find out, he made the point. I like being in the herd, but that means there's more than one. And they are. And the Marshall Thundering Herd athletics for this town and this region is their team. So I think they're going to be excited about having this new guy.
We're going to try to bring people up and talk to us here for the rest of the show. But when we come back, we are going to hear potentially from we got a couple of media scrums we're going to play for you throughout the show. We've got Christian Spears. We also have the new coach. And we'll hear from some other folks as well when we continue on this edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
The edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I am your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's program. I'm here at Marshall University where a few moments ago I was part of the introductory press conference for the new baseball coach of Marshall University, Gregory Beals. We're going to hear in just a moment from Athletic Director Christian Spears. We'll get his thoughts on the hire as he spent some time with us in the media earlier in. It was a fun day. It was a fun day to bring in a new coach. So as soon as we can, we're going to bring you him, and we also have comments from the new coach as well. And we'll get your text in as we go through the hour. Text line this hour is 304-396-TALK, 304-396-8255. That is the number. You can text in and be a part of today's program here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. So let's hear just a few minutes ago in the media scrum from Marshall Athletic Director Christian Spears. Was there any worry from your candidates? I mean, you got the right guy, but when you say, hey, we're putting a new baseball park together, it's not here yet, did that sort of weed out some of the candidates?
There's this believe before it happens mentality, right? And I think Coach Beals has it. A lot of times a candidate can't see it unless it's in front of them. And, that was what attracted me so much to Coach Beals. He believed it. He sees the vision. He's done it before. He knows how to build it. And his competencies are so extraordinarily good. I'm really confident that he'll lead us in such a special way that we'll get to a Sun Belt championship. We will.
Obviously, he was at Akron before this briefly.
Right.
Did you have any worry that maybe he wanted to get things settled there, or how did you approach him about that, having taken the positions so recently?
The greatest thing about having Coach Carbone as a part of this process is he's got personal relationships in the baseball space, and I asked him to help me identify candidates that he thought could create that would honor the legacy of Coach Cook, and he kept coming back to Coach Beals. Hey, Christian, I know he's been there for less than a year, but I really think we should give him a look. And, he was right, and we gave him a hard look, and then I brought him here, and then I saw his enthusiasm. Yeah, there's a bit of a chip on his shoulder, and I think he's willing to compete in arguably one of the best conferences in the country. So I was thrilled to be able to pull him away from Akron and into the green and white.
Do you think having left Akron just recently under your, did that change any of the negotiations with financial tactics, having to pay out the buyout from Akron, or no?
A little bit. The way you manage that through contracts, and you look somebody in the eye and you tell them how we're going to have to do it because of the buyout, and then you manage it together, and then you move forward, right? So we're going to develop a long-term agreement with Coach, a 5-year commitment, and we're going to take the time to build this program. In February of 24, we're going to be in a new ballpark. And, I'm just so excited that we were able to pull him out of Akron and into Marshall, because I think he's going to win here.
With the 5-year contract, so the expectations are 5 years, let's get it done. You're giving some time to grow.
Yeah, this is not an easy fix, right? But I think we're going to be competitive immediately. I do. And I think Coach believes he's going to be competitive immediately as well. But I want to build a program, and sometimes you got to give longevity to do that. And I love consistency and continuity. So I'm thrilled that he was amiable to a 5-year deal, and let's go.
Marshall University Athletic Director Christian Spears speaking on today's new hire. Marshall University hiring a brand new baseball coach, and Gregory Beals. We're going to hear from him in just a few minutes. We've also got his presser from earlier today, so we're going to get to that here in a moment as we are getting everything squared away with our audio. So as soon as I get the thumbs up on that, we're going to go to that. But I'll tell you what we'll do first. We'll take a break and come back, and we will have some of the press conference from earlier today when we continue on this edition on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930 and on WRVC.com.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to the Friday edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. It's quiet here now where I'm at. I'm in the radio booth from Joan C. Edwards Stadium, where earlier the introductory press conference for Marshall's 29th baseball coach, Gregory Beals, happened. And we're going to hear from him in just a moment. First, we're going to hear his presser, and then we had a chance to be a part of the media scrum with him, and we'll hear a little bit of that. So he comes in from Akron. As you heard from Marshall Athletic Director Christian Spears, able to bring him in from Akron, and he is hitting the ground running. Today's Friday. Everyone will be back on Monday. They're going to definitely be using the indoor facility extensively. We're going to eventually get a schedule of games where they're going to be played. So you're going to hear more about that in the coming days. But let's go ahead and hear his comments from his introductory presser. This is Marshall's new baseball coach, 29th head coach in program history, Gregory Beals, as he was taking the stage.
Man, I'm excited to be here, and so many people to thank for this moment. And first want to thank the president and his leadership. Man, that's a special guy, and I had the opportunity to meet him on my interview, and he asked real questions and makes you think. So I know we are in very, very good hands from the leadership from the top. So President Smith is phenomenal. I look forward to working for him, and A.D. Spears, and just the energy and the vision that he has, not just for our athletic department, but specifically our baseball program, had me in. So excited about that opportunity to work. with those two special people at the top. Also got to mention Andrew Brown, who's going to be my sports supervisor and my direct connect with the administration. He's just been phenomenal for me in this process. His leadership and communication through this has certainly made it as smooth as possible. Thank you back there. I look forward to a lot of work together. And Coach Joe Carbone, Coach and I go back quite a ways, and just, grateful for him. And he has seen me from a player to a coach to an assistant coach to a head coach and all that. And like I said upstairs, I'm sure he lit some fires on both sides of this equation to get us here. So thank you for that confidence. That means a lot as a colleague and a friend, so thank you. Bear with me a little bit because I'm an emotional guy. I'm very passionate. And we kind of talk about family. And Christian, thank you for introducing my family. This doesn't happen without that. There's checks and sign-offs that go along before Coach makes a decision on moving and taking on this opportunity. And it's a great opportunity that I was working hard in the family for the whole way, and I got full approval. And so thanks to Kath and the girls. So we'll be here. And family is very, very important. We're going to talk more about that as I go through this. So, why Marshall? And there's so many things. This is a very exciting time at Marshall University. The leadership from the president, the leadership here in the athletic department. We're moving into a new conference. We're building a new stadium. There is just so much to be excited about and to look forward to. And for me, it was a no-brainer. I mean, it really was a no-brainer decision to be here. I talked about the first email I sent, and I used the word special, that there's a special opportunity here. And I have felt nothing shy of that, from interview process to meeting people in the community, to meeting the other coaches in the department, starting to meet, the coaching staff in the baseball program and players. Special is still the word, and that there's a great community here. And that's something that we look forward, my family and I look forward to joining. Who am I? I've been introduced as a 29th baseball coach here at Marshall University. That's what I am, and that's my task professionally. I want to talk a little bit about who I am. And, I'm a believer. My faith is important to me. My family is dear, dear, dear to me. Very, very important. And those things are my lead core values, and baseball is right there behind that. This game of baseball is very important to me. It's been my life, and there's two things that I'm going to be true to all the way to the end. That's the game of baseball, and that's to the student athletes that are in our program. Those two things will never falter as far as my thoughts are. I'm going to take care of the game, and I'm going to take care of my guys. You're getting a program builder. You're getting a guy that believes in player development. You're getting a coach that believes in student athletes, the whole idea of student athletes, what we learn and how we grow as young men. You're getting somebody that believes in that, somebody that believes in intercollegiate athletics, all right? And how we utilize that opportunity in intercollegiate athletics, that opportunity as student athletes to put ourselves in a position to be elite. And gentlemen, you're going to hear that word a lot, the word elite, because we're pushing for that. And elite is a high-level word. You guys have seen it on the text change. You've seen that word already. You're going to keep hearing it. I love my job. Burning passion for the game of baseball, fundamental belief in education and student athletes, put the two together and put a group of young men in a great spot. That's what my charge is going to be. We've got big dreams. We've got dreams of playing for championships. We've got dreams of playing professionally. Those guys do. We've got big dreams, and we're going to chase those dreams, and we're going to be in a great position on and off the field when the race is done. I promise you guys that. Our core values inside our baseball program are going to be elite preparation, competitive toughness, and brotherhood. All right? You break it down, prepare, compete, and be teammates. Pretty simple, pretty old school. The other words that we tie along with that are very, very important to me. I've used the word elite already. That's a choice we all get to make every day, whether we're going to be elite. I'm going to work hard to teach these young men how to be in an elite mindset on a daily basis. That's going to drive our training. That's going to drive the dude inside of us, is that elite mindset. So the word elite is just as important as preparation. The word toughness is important along with our competition. Our toughness is a mental thing, not a physical thing. In the game of baseball, we got to be able to respond. Every 20 seconds is a new pitch, a new competitive opportunity, a new situation, and we got to be able to get there every 20 seconds. That takes a toughness. So when we talk about competitive toughness, that's what I'm talking about. And then we use the word brotherhood, more so than team, all right, because a brotherhood brings out a family, the idea of family. And we have a group of young men that chose to come here, chose to come to Huntington, West Virginia, chose to come to Marshall University. So we got commonalities. We've all made this decision to be here, and we're going to attack it together with a family mindset together. Is critical there. I think it's pretty cool, and I've never been, in an athletic department that had a nickname and a mascot that was plural, or that was, there's no such thing in the herd. Like one doesn't make a herd, right? So you can't watch one bison, right? If one bison go down the street and call it a herd, right? But the Buckeyes, there's a Buckeye. There it goes. The herd is a group. And I love that idea. We're going to be a group. We're going to do it together. And nobody gets to their best spot in their world, in the game, in your education, in your social lives, in anything professional you do. You don't get there by yourself. And we are the herd, and we're going to be that together. That's going to put us all in a great spot. I love that concept of that word, the herd. So I might be using that more than team. That might go into the core value instead of brother. I don't know. But I love that word and that idea of being a herd. On the field, we got some work to do, but you're going to see a well-prepared, tough-minded team that thrives on competition. Anybody that knows and been around Coach Beals, I love to compete. We get a ping pong game going on, we play a game of euchre or something like that, it's on. If there's a scoreboard, it's on. We're playing to win. So I'm going to keep tapping into the dude inside of us to compete all the time too. So that's what you're going to see on the baseball field. I want to thank the current staff. These guys are here today. We had a chance to meet for a couple hours this morning. Man, I really appreciate the work you guys have done to keep the preparation going. And this team, these guys right here deserve 23. They deserve the best we got. And there's big plans for the future. But my number one responsibility is to have you guys ready for February 17th and to be ready to compete right now. And we can do both. We can build the future and be locked and loaded, ready to go this year too. We're going to do that. And thank you guys. I look forward to continuing to work together. Fun conversations ahead. Talking baseball in that office, there's fun conversations ahead. I need to comment on some of the guys that have gone before me. And Coach Jeff Wagner was here, and I appreciate his stewardship over this program for the last 16 years. And Jack Cook is another one. And I didn't have a great relationship, didn't really know Coach Cook, but I have a very, very strong understanding of the legacy that is here, that he has left here in this program. And that's where we need to get to. That's the vision. We've got to talk about championships. We've got to talk about representing this great university in the national tournament. We got work to do, but that's the direction that we're headed. And I'm really excited to do that. My family's all here. I'm here. We are Marshall. Thank you very much.
That is the presser, the introductory presser of Marshall's 29th head baseball coach, Gregory Beals, and one of the members of the media that was there, and you're going to hear from the media scrum here in a few minutes, Luke Creasy from HD Media, who has a very busy schedule today and tomorrow. We got this today. Tomorrow we'll be at the Cam Henderson Center for Marshall basketball. Doubleheader. You and Tim Stevens, I'm assuming. Tim's going to be there.
Rick Elmore's going to be there with
me.
So.
Okay.
Yep. And then in between, I'm going out to Wayne High School here in a little bit to catch the matchup of the top two teams in Class AAA, so in girls basketball.
Looks like it's going to be a fun night in tomorrow for you, but we got to start with today with hiring Beals. We were commenting earlier, we were looking at the construction happening and the workers getting off. I would have been the first thing I would have, if I was interested in this job, I would have made sure that there was construction happening just to get a feel for, okay, is this program really moving forward? Because we've heard it so long.
Yeah, and I think, Beals himself kind of referred to that. He said, I've been recruiting against this potential stadium for many years. He's got quite a few years as a head coach, and, his, Columbus not too far of a drive from here in Huntington, and so a lot of the same recruiting base, and, we've seen some local kids go up there and play for the Buckeyes. So, that's a big development, and that's big for the future of the program. I think that's one of the key things that has to happen, and I think that the current athletic administration knew that, and to get the ball rolling and to be in a position to change head coaches, that had to be going on across the street, that being the building of a baseball stadium. So I don't think if they don't break ground on that, I don't think Jeff Wagner leaves. Or parts ways with the university, however you want to word that. I think, if that doesn't happen, they can't search for a new head coach. So that was a big piece of the puzzle.
They needed that piece. And I was asked yesterday what was the reason why Wagner was let go. And I'm sure there are several reasons that, honestly, we could talk about and speculate. But at the end of the day, you have an athletic director with a brand new baseball facility. One of the first priorities for him was to get that going, got it going, and now, looking to change leadership and try to bring someone in who can build a program, recruit to that facility. And you have someone who has a lot of so-called big-time baseball experience coming out of the Big Ten, but the Sun Belt just as good. And, you're going to find it's going to be a challenge, and probably it's going to be very helpful to recruit to it as well.
Yeah, no, absolutely. He's had success, maybe not so much in the last few years at Ohio State, especially, finishing 12th in the Big Ten his last season as the coach. And, he kind of spoke with us about, sometimes people need a change of direction. And Marshall's been a program that has been in need of change for a few years. And that's just not speaking to the coaching staff. That's speaking to the program in general. They needed some momentum to move forward. We saw the trouble that the team had last year running into darkness being the reason that games had to be delayed until the next day. They played a stadium without lights. That's not going to be a problem in the Sun Belt this year because they're moving those games up to Charleston. But, that is a signal to me that the program needed a change to move forward. And, and when you look at what Spears has done in his first year here as athletic director, I think you can see he wants his fingerprint on this baseball stadium build. He found a way to get some money. He found a way to hire a baseball coach without a stadium. He found a way to put that together, and I think his vision is important in all of this, and his confidence in being able to make it happen is important as well. He's gotten with the right people, and he got his guy as the head coach.
And a coach that's willing to come in with less than a month?
6 weeks.
Yeah.
From today.
6 weeks to get it together and to field a baseball team that's going to be competitive, or at least be able to go and attempt to be competitive.
Yeah. I think, all along it's been, when it was announced that Wagner and Marshall would part ways, even that was, kind of, it was a shocker to many, but mainly because of the timeline, because you had less than, you were halfway through the offseason at that point. Now you're 6 weeks away from the season opener, and time to get to work. And I think that Beals hit it on the head in his introductory press conference, and it's always important to say the right things at those. And I think he did a good job of that today. But the biggest thing is to take ownership of the program. They have a team meeting on Monday, and that's when he'll really get to meet all the players, because some of them aren't back from break yet. But he'll get a chance to meet all the players, all the coaching staff who are going to stay this year. I don't know if you've already hit on that or not, but you'll hear that in the upcoming media scrum. So, but a chance for him to, over this next week, really take ownership of the program.
We've got that media scrum coming up. We'll hear it here in the next few minutes. Luke Creasy's with us from HD Media. Going to hear from him a lot tomorrow if you're following along with the Herald Dispatch. And, of course, you can find him on Twitter as well. Yesterday was fun on Twitter, following along with you and me, mostly you, for the basketball game.
Yeah.
Yeah, my business was handled after the game on air.
Yeah, and my
Your
business
home
has
for
to
the
be,
Cincinnati Bengals is Huntington's ESPN 90.
my business had to be handled during the game. So, I'm sure we'll be seeing a lot of each other over the next 24 hours.
Yeah,
so.
We'll see each other here soon.
And now you heard the press conference here, but if you want to watch it later, it's going to be on our HD Media Plus streaming app.
Video.
Which I just found out about it. So if you want to take a listen back to it, and I've got some fun stuff coming out in tomorrow's paper about it as well.
All right, Luke Creasy with us, HD Media. When we continue, we'll hear from the new head coach of Marshall Baseball, the 29th head coach of Marshall Baseball. We stressed that 29th a lot in the presser earlier today. Gregory Beals. We'll hear his media scrum when we continue on this edition of The Drive.
This is The Drive with Paul Swann on ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.
Welcome back to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for being a part of today's program. It's a little quiet now here from where I'm at. It's dark on the field. I'm in the radio booth at Jones C. Edwards Stadium. It's dark on the field, but the lights are on. The digital boards are on. It's an interesting view from inside the radio booth with just the scoreboard lights on. It's actually pretty cool, to be honest with you. To give you an idea where I'm at here today, because the introductory presser for Marshall's new baseball coach, as baseball is about to start 6 weeks, and Gregory Beals is named the head coach. You heard his presser earlier. Had a chance to, after he was pulled aside for a few minutes to meet with some people, we got a chance to catch up with him and talk to him. So let's get his comments from the media scrum. Of course, Paul Swann, reporter for WRVC, with some hard-hitting questions here. Let's hear his media scrum. So, first year on the job, win the Sun Belt, right?
We're going to be ready for February 17th, and we're going to try to win that game. And I have had a chance to get on some video and to get in some old scouting reports, and I've gotten information from the current coaching staff, the guys that have been here. We have the chance to win. Now, are we in a championship mode? I don't know that yet. I got some learning to do, but I also am excited about helping these guys learn, because I see a talent level that, given elite competitive mindset, there's a chance to win our share of baseball games.
Is this the greatest challenge you've ever had?
It's an exciting challenge. Is it the greatest challenge I've had? I think every challenge is different, so I don't want to say it's the greatest. I went, going from assistant coach to head coach, that's a challenge, to take over your team for the first time, and then to go to Ohio State and take over for Bob Todd, who's a 23-year veteran and a Hall of Famer. And I took over that. That's not an easy job, taking over that situation either. Trying to find the right word. The bones are here. I believe that. Like you start to see that there's a reason to have a vision. There's a reason to be excited. There's a reason to think we can build something special here, and I see that, and I think Christian did a good job of identifying where I was at And I think you guys heard, like, yeah, I know that's where we're going to go practice for the year. And I know we got to go drive to play our games for the year. But I see what's going on across the street there, and I got a big picture in mind. But I do not want to let the big picture get in the way of putting this team in the best possible situation as well.
Greg, how much have you heard from people around town? This can be a great baseball town, given the proper things that you need to win, and now you're getting that. Have you heard that from people so far?
No doubt I have. I'm friends with the Atkins brothers, who are baseball guys here in this community. I've recruited some guys that played for me at Ohio State that are from this community. They're all excited about baseball in Huntington. And man, it's an old cliche, and it's a great movie. I love the movie. Is you build it, they'll come. And we're going to have an opportunity to have a brand new ballpark and to flip the lights on and play here. And I'm thinking in March and April that we can be the show in town.
When you look at the last year for you personally,
Yeah.
Ohio State, you take the job at Akron, now you find yourself in Huntington. How have you navigated that? You talked
Yeah.
about challenges, but definitely a different year for you.
Well, one of the biggest challenges was and concerns was leaving a team mid-year, and that was hard to do. There's two reasons that I'm good with. One is this opportunity, in my opinion, was so significant that I didn't want to say no to. And I'm very grateful that the administration at Akron have put my assistants that were there at Akron are going to run that program for the year. So that team is going to be well taken care of for the year. That's one of the biggest challenges. When I got let go at Ohio State, and we did 12 years there and had a great run there. But, in a lot of places there's a time for change, and there was a time for change there. Not that I agree 100%, but there was a time for change. There was a time for change here at Marshall University, whether everybody agrees or not. That the time for change does exist, and as a professional, you need to be ready to adapt. I learned a lot because I had some time off this summer, and so I did a lot of reflection and a lot of tightening up on my cores and the things I believe in 100%. And this is a fresher, newer Greg Beals, and I'm a better baseball coach today than I was when I was hired at Ohio State 12 and a half years ago.
Will the current coaching staff be retained with your hire being so close to the start of the season with regard to the coaching staff?
Yeah, the guys are going to stay, and the coaching staff is going to stay for the season because I believe it's what's best for these guys. And it also gives me the opportunity to spend some time, learn about them, and not make a quick decision, yes or no, on their futures as coaches as well. But in the summer, we'll reconvene and circle the wagons on that. But I'm certainly, looking forward to working with those guys. I'm going to learn. I got to learn, I saw the depth chart today for the first time, after fall ball, as far as where they got everybody at and where, what a lineup's going to look like. We had a great 2-hour meeting talking baseball, and we'll be back at it Monday morning.
How'd those guys receive you, Greg, the players today?
I think there's excitement. I think I think more than anything is the uncertainty period is over. I think from a coach, from a player standpoint, and from all of us, one thing as humans, we don't like the idea of what's going on, what's going to happen tomorrow. Like, we like things to be mapped out, and we like to have an idea what to expect day in and day out. And that answer is starting to come to the players.
Will it be difficult for you this year that you have to play both your former teams in your first season at Marshall, Ohio State, and Akron your first year? Will that be difficult for you?
No, it won't. It won't. And the reason I say no is because I grew up with an older brother, and I love him to death, but we fought in the backyard. So I love those guys. There's guys in both those programs that I love, but they know darn well that when we go on game day that we're going to be ready to fight against each other and compete. And so, no, that doesn't bother me at all. And that's part of the brotherhood, and a lot of respect for both those, but we'll get after it on game day.
Yeah, there's no – look, I coach the Herd. That's my team. I work for Marshall. That's my team. Yeah, I like you guys. I still like you guys. I'm going to beat you, but I like you guys. No, that's the right attitude. Right there in his last question. It's like, yeah, that doesn't bother me. I work for Marshall University. The signature on the check is probably Christian Spears or Brad from Canova. One of the two. No. The coaches have loyalty to previous programs. Depending on how it ended, you had some good times with previous programs, and it helped you move to the next part of your journey. But at the end of the day, this is now the head coach of the Marshall Thundering Herd. This will be the head coach of the Thundering Herd for the foreseeable future. 5-year contract. Is 5 years enough time to get this program to a point where it is a contender yearly in the Sun Belt? I think that's what we're looking for here. The first year is going to be, I don't want to say it's a freebie, but the first year, it's all right. We're moving toward the stadium. Because once the stadium is built and you can recruit to it, I think the expectations are going to be even higher. Right now, we just want to get the facility. I'm your host, Paul Swann. Thanks for tuning in to today's edition of The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930. We're going to be back at it tomorrow. We've got Marshall basketball coming up. That is set for a 3:30 tip. We're going to be on the air with our pregame at 2:30, so I'm looking forward to that. And then afterwards, we will be on the air with your phone calls and your comments, talking about hopefully a Marshall victory, trying to bounce back from a 2-game losing streak in the Sun Belt. And we've got that for you coming up tomorrow here on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930, and also on 93.7 The Dog. Thanks back to the studios for everything today from Christian Palmer. I'm Paul Swann. This has been The Drive on ESPN 94.1 and AM 930.
WRBC Huntington, W227BS Huntington, your flagship home of the Marshall Thundering Herd and The Drive with Paul Swann, ESPN 94.1 FM and AM 930.